Taxable merchandise in Wisconsin, $271.14, plus tax, what's the total amount due? In order to solve this problem, you have to know that in Wisconsin, we have a 5% plus another 0.5% that counties can add, and every county does, or at least I think every does. So we're going to take the $271 plus the tax, which is $271, part is the base times the rate. So on our calculator, we would press 271.14 plus 271.14 times 0.055, and we get $286.05. Next one. This time we just want to know what the tax is. So in other words, we're going to take, we're going to take 155.35 times 0.055 and get $8.54. Next one, the total amount she must pay. Total amount she must pay. $280.15 plus 280.15 times 0.055 gives you $295.56. Next one. Calculate the total amount he must pay. $144.42 plus 144.42 times 0.055 gives us 152.36. Next one. You have to pay tax on the total amount of the car, not just the amount that's left over after you trade in your vehicle. So we have to take the $20,899 times 0.055, and we get $1,149.45 in tax, which seems like quite a bit, doesn't it? Now we just want to know, if we went to a state that had less tax, how much would we save? We don't care how much the tax rate is, we just want to know how much money we save. So we're going to take the cost of the car, $21,499, times 0.014, tells us we'll save $300.99. Next one. Income or sales tax in Wisconsin only applies to, or doesn't apply to regular food that you consume at home. It only applies to food if you would eat it like fast food or junk food. So, we would take, excuse me, sneeze, excuse me, okay, we would take the Coca-Cola and the popcorn and add those together and multiply by 5.5%. So, parentheses 2.43, because we have to add them first before we multiply them, and then multiply them by 0.055. Now we just add the popcorn and the Coca-Cola and the eggs, which are $1, and we get $8.70. Next one. 77 surveys were sent out, 66 were returned. What percent of the surveys were returned? So, in this case, the part is 66, the base is 77, so 66 is 77 times the rate, divide both sides by 77. 66 divided by 77 is 86%. Now it tells us that 19 were returned of the surveys. This was 35%. So we need to do the math just a little bit differently this time. Oops. This is the part, this is the rate. So 19 is the base times 0.35. Divide both sides by 0.35. So we have a fraction 19 over 0.35 gives us $54 or 54.28. We want to record your answer to the nearest whole number, so that would be the nearest whole number, 54. Next one. 55 grams out of 80, this is the part, this is the base, so 55 is 80 times the rate, divide both sides by 80, and we get 55 divided by 80 is custody, 69%. Next one. 28% of the blood is made with a certain chemical. How many gallons are there in 92 gallons of blood? So in this case, we need to calculate if this is the rate and this is the base, the part that is of that chemical is 92 times 0.28. 92 times 0.28 is $25.76. Next one, 24% of the patients who get a certain disease die. How many patients are expected to die if 77 get the disease? So this is the base. We want the part that dies is 77 times 0.24. 77 times 0.24 is 18.48. The nearest whole number would be 18. Number 13. How many patients are hospitalized more than 4 days if 11%, this is the rate, this is the base, 99, so the part that are hospitalized more than 4 days is 91 times 0.11. And when we calculate that, 91 times 0.11 gives us about 10 patients. Round your answer to the nearest whole number. Next, 39% of the workers are nurses. If there are 52 workers, how many are nurses? This is the base, this is the rate. So the part that's nurses is 52 times 0.39. And we get about 20, rounded to the nearest whole number. This one is probably best set up using a proportion. In fact, I'm going to do the next two at the same time. Let's see how it goes here. The proportion in the first one will be square feet and dollars. The total, the base for the dollars is 57,000. The square feet is 1,100 plus 1,400 plus 1,300. And we want to know, we want to know how many dollars there are if the paint department has 1,400 square feet. So on our calculator, we will take 57,000 times 1,400 divided by, now we need to put all three of the lengths together. So 1,100 plus 1,400 plus 1,300, and we get $21,000 rounded to the nearest cent. Make sure you put in the cents there into your answer. And then the next one is similar, only this time we have the number of employees and the amount of dollars. Total amount of dollars is $35,000. That's the base. We want to know what part is in shoes, which has 1,500 employees, of the 1,500 plus 1,300 plus 1,200 employees. So on our calculator, we would take 35,000 times the 1,500 divided by, make sure you add them together, 1,500 plus 1,300 plus 1,200, and you get $13,125.00. Next one. Vingas gets paid a salary plus commission. All right, so we have to figure out how much he gets paid. His salary is $2,000 plus. His commission is the base, which would be it's going to be the sales minus the returns, because you don't get credit for the stuff that doesn't actually sell, times 0.017. So on our calculator, it would be 2,000 plus parentheses 19,800 minus the 12,410 times the commission rate 0.017, and you get 2,000. Oops, what did I do wrong? Times, that's supposed to be, close parentheses, times 0.018, and we get $2,125.63. Next one. Red Snoot sells memberships at the Eau Claire Athletic Club. He receives $2,100 plus his commission is on $1,103 in sales times his commission rate, which is 0.069, and he gets a salary of $2,176.11. So he doesn't get very much on commission this month. Maybe he didn't do a very good job of selling. You probably expected him to sell more than he did. Next one. In a 3-day public auction, or public sale, Eau Claire County surplus equipment, the first day brought in $521, and the second day brought in $338, and there's still 30% left to sell. So that's the total. Well, if this is 30%, these two must add up to 70%. Okay? So this is the rate. 521 plus 338 that's the part, is the base times the rate, 0.70. Okay. So, fraction 521 plus 338 is 70%, so divided by 0.70, and we get $1,227. So let's take that and subtract the 521 from the first day and subtract the 338 from the second day, and we get a total for the third day of $368.14. Next one. An antiques dealer found that 34 or 35% of the 1,043 items, this is the base, this is the rate, were sold for under $1,000. So what is the part? Well, it's 1,043 times 0.35. Come on now. 1,043 times 0.35 gives us 365, rounded to the nearest whole number, antiques that were over $1,000. In a test of rope strength, 460 pieces of the 1,460 pieces tested did not meet the standards. What percent did meet the standards? All right, so let's first of all find out how many met the standards. So it'd be the total number, 1,460, subtract the ones that didn't, 460, means 1,000 did meet the standards. Okay? So, 1,000 is the part that did meet the standards. This is the base. We want to know what the part is. So 1,000, or the rate is. 1,000 is 1,460 times the rate. Divide both sides by 1,460. 1,000 over 1,460 is 68.5%. A charitable organization spent $390 on administrative costs. So this is the part that was administrative. This is the rate. 390 is the base times 0.048. Divide both sides by 0.048 to get your answer. And on your calculator, it would be 390 over 0.048, and we get 8,125. Next one. A manufacturer of an anti-inflammatory drug claims that the drug will be effective for 13 hours. An independent testing service found it was only effective for 91.3%. So this is the rate. This is the base. So the part that it was effective is 13 times 0.913. And it would be 11 point, rounded to 1 decimal point, 11.9 hours. Eau Claire Fire Department received 14 false alarms out of 118 calls. What percent were false alarms? So in this case, we are looking for, the rate. Here's the part that was false alarms. Here's the total. So 14 is 118 times the rate. Divide both sides by 118. And on our calculator, 14 over 118 gives us 11.9, rounded to the nearest 10th percent. Next one. What is the sales total, or sales tax percent in a state where the tax on purchases is, why did that appear? Come on now. I was trying to use my finger, it didn't work. Let's try again. So we're going to take, this is the part, this is the base, so 2.39 is 490.70 times the rate, divide both sides by 49.70. So on our calculator, 2.39 over 14.70 is about 49.70. I gotta go up here. Over 49.70. Not 14.70. Now let's see, what did we get? Or about 4.8%. Next one. Maritza Torres owns 67.5% of the travel agency. So the part she owns, this is the rate, this is the base. So the part that she owns is 88.40.44 times 0.675. 88.40.44 times 0.675 is $5,967.30 when you round. The Daily Times reported that 59.1% of its advertising is for the department stores. If the department store advertising amounts to $7,800.44, what is the total advertising revenue for the newspaper? Okay, so this is the rate. This is the part that was for the department store advertising. So 7,844 cents is the base times 0.591. 7,844 times 0.591. Oh, I made a mistake there someplace. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to divide both sides by 0.591. Let's do it again. 7,800.44 over 0.591 is $13,198.71. Last one. Stockbrokers at the Chippewa Valley Traders are paid a commission on stocks they buy and sell. So it's paid on money, but we don't have the money. We just know that it's 701 shares times 28.83. That's the amount, that's the base. This is the rate, so times 0.013 is the part that is commission. So on our calculator, we would press 701 times 28.83 times, I forgot what the rate was, 1.3. So 0.013 gives us $262.73. This is less than 1.5 point C.